God said, "Please listen, May 27, 2025. The day you realize you are the chosen today is not just another day. This is not just another date on the calendar. May 27, 2025. This is the moment where heaven leans in and whispers to your soul, please listen. There are no accidents in the divine timeline. There are no coincidences in a universe governed by spiritual law. If your eyes are reading this, if your heart is leaning in, it is because the call has been made, and you have been chosen to hear it. Not chosen in arrogance, not chosen in superiority, but chosen in purpose, chosen in awakening, chosen to remember who you truly are beneath the noise, beneath the struggle, beneath the disguise the world gave you. For too long, you've lived under the illusion that power is outside you. You've waited for signs, for people, for miracles to show you the truth of your worth. But today, the illusion collapses. Today, the veil lifts. Today, you remember that voice you've been calling God. It's been calling you too, not from a mountain, not from a cloud, not from the sky, but from within. It said, please listen, and not because you haven't been trying, but because now you're finally quiet enough to hear, still enough to feel, awake enough to know you have always been marked, always been guided. Every setback was a setup, every betrayal a blessing in disguise. Every delay a divine appointment in waiting. The day you realize you are the chosen one is not when the world confirms it, it's when you do. When you dare to believe what God has whispered in the quiet chambers of your heart for years. I made you for this. I anointed you for this. You are not forgotten, you are favored. So I ask you, with the full weight of eternity behind these words, will you listen? Will you finally stop running from what you've always known deep down? Because this day, May 27, 2025, is not just a message. It is a moment of rebirth. It is the day the chosen one awakens, and that chosen one is you. The voice of God is heard in stillness. We live in a world that screams. It pulls at you, demands from you, and fills your every moment with noise. The opinions of others, the rush of obligation, the constant stream of digital voices. In this whirlwind of sound, it is no wonder so many feel lost, confused, or unseen. But the voice that truly matters, the voice that gives life meaning, clarity, and power, is not found in the chaos. It is found in the silence, the stillness, that quiet center within you where God waits, gently saying, please listen, and not listen with your ears, not listen to the outer world, but listen with your spirit, with the heart that knows without words, the heart that remembers before it understands. Because God does not shout. He doesn't force himself upon you. He waits for your attention to return inward. He speaks through impressions, through sudden knowing, through what the world calls imagination, but what heaven calls revelation. It is not strange that today, on May 27, 2025, you were drawn to this message. That tug you feel, that ache in your chest, that spark behind your eyes, that sense that something is trying to break through, is not anxiety. It is God's whisper, a divine tap on the shoulder. For years you have cried out, God, where are you? But today the reply has come, I've been here all along, but will you be still long enough to hear me? Stillness is not passive. It is the most active form of alignment. It is the doorway to true transformation. When you quiet the mind, you create space for the divine to speak clearly, and what he speaks is never confusion. It is always direction. Not loud commands, but sacred impressions that rise within your awareness like the rising sun, slowly, surely, unmistakably. If you've been waiting for a moment of clarity, this is it. This day is your invitation to return to stillness and hear not just from God, but to hear yourself as God hears you, not broken, not behind, not forgotten, but whole, empowered, chosen. The world has trained you to look outside yourself for answers, to consult people, systems, doctrines, and trends, but every time you've followed the crowd, something in you has remained unsatisfied. That's because truth isn't out there, it's in here, inside your being. Inside the sacred temple of awareness, and in that inner temple, the presence of God abides in stillness, not in striving. Stillness isn't just silence, it's awareness without distraction. It's the state of being where your thoughts no longer pull you toward worry or fear, but instead fall like leaves, leaving only your spirit exposed to divine revelation. In that holy space there is no confusion about who you are. No fear about what's next, only knowing, and that knowing says, you are mine, you are sent, you are chosen. When God says, please listen, He's not begging, he's inviting you to come back into yourself, back into the sanctuary where all things are made clear. And in that sanctuary you do not need to strive to be heard. You do not need to prove your worth. You only need to remember who you are. For before the foundations of this world, he placed a seed of himself inside you. That seed is your imagination, your intuition, your deep inner compass that always points toward your destiny. No matter how far you've wandered, you see, being chosen does not begin with external validation. It begins the moment you accept that the still, small voice inside you is not wishful thinking, but the very echo of God's mind within your own. You don't need to hear thunder. You don't need a vision in the sky. You only need to slow down, breathe deep, and ask with sincerity, what is God revealing to me today? And then wait, not in anxiety, but in trust for the answer that will surely rise. Every chosen one has their day of awakening. Not a day of fireworks, but a day of stillness where it finally clicks. I've been looking outside for what was always within. This is your day, this is that moment, and the key is stillness, because once you make peace with silence, the entire universe begins to speak. Once you stop striving, what you've been chasing begins to chase you. Stillness is how you tune into divine timing. It's how you know when to act and when to wait. It's how you discern the next step, even when the path ahead seems invisible. In stillness, you will remember dreams you buried. In stillness, you will uncover strength you thought you lost. In stillness, you will no longer wonder if you are the chosen one. You will know. You may think, I don't know how to be still, but you do. You've done it before, those moments you looked at the stars and felt peace, or sat alone in your car and let yourself just be. Those moments were not empty, they were sacred. They were proof that the divine voice lives in the quiet, not the noise. Make no mistake, the stillness is not empty. It is pregnant with revelation. It is not passive. It is powerful. The world will tell you to keep hustling, keep proving yourself, but the chosen know that true power flows not from chaos, but from calm, from communion, from alignment with the voice that never left, only waited. So if you want to know what God is saying to you today, don't ask someone else. Go within, sit quietly, let your thoughts settle like dust in the air. And there, in that silence, you will hear it, the answer, the assurance, the instruction you've been seeking. You'll hear it not with ears, but with awareness. You'll feel it not as sound, but as truth. And the truth is this: you are chosen, you are not lost, you are not behind, you are right on time, and everything is about to change, because now, finally, you are ready to listen. Imagination is revelation from the speech. God said, please listen, May 27, 2025, the day you realize you are the chosen one, approx. 1,000 words, written in the style inspired by Neville Goddard without naming him. There is a hidden power in you that the world has tried to convince you is make believe. From the moment you were born, everything around you was designed to make you doubt what you can see with your inner eye. They said dreams are foolish, imagination is childish, and fantasy is a waste of time. But what they never told you is this: your imagination is the womb of divine revelation. Everything begins in the invisible. What is seen was made from what is not seen, and what the world calls imagination, the spirit calls vision. The pictures you carry in your soul, the longings that rise from nowhere and refuse to be silenced, those are not illusions. They are instructions, they are blueprints from the mind of God, planted within you like seeds, and today, May 27, 2025, is the day you stop dismissing them and start recognizing what they truly are, revelations. You have been imagining your way forward your entire life, even if you didn't realize it. That job you prayed for, you pictured yourself doing it before you ever applied. That person you fell in love with, you felt their presence in your mind long before they entered your life. That breakthrough you hoped for, you dreamt of it in the silence of your heart, where only God and you could hear. Imagination has always been your compass. And now you understand why, because imagination is how God speaks. What you see with your inner eye is not a maybe, it is a message, it's not a fantasy. It's a forecast. When a vision is planted in your imagination and refuses to go away, it is not random. It is revelation. You are not being teased by your dreams. You are being taught. Heaven is showing you a preview of what is already written, and the only question is, will you believe it? You see, the chosen are not those who have no doubt. They are those who dare to believe in the invisible more than the visible. They look at lack and still declare abundance. They look at the storm and still declare peace. They feel fear but still declare faith. Why? Because they are not reacting to what they see with natural eyes. They are responding to what they know within. They've seen the promise already in vision. They've touched the victory already in imagination. Your imagination is not broken. It is sacred. It is not random. It is divine. Every time you've pictured a better future, every time you've felt the reality of a life not yet seen, you've stepped into the realm of creation. You've met God there, not outside you, but within you, guiding your desires like a compass points to true north. That longing in your soul, that dream that won't die, is proof that you are chosen. You were selected to carry this vision and to birth it through faith. Most people give up on their dreams because they cannot see how they will happen, but the chosen understand how is not your business. Believing is, trust is, feeling it real is. Every prophecy begins as a picture, every miracle begins as a mental image, and when you dare to feel that image as true, you open the door for it to manifest. Stop calling your imagination foolish. It is your prophetic tool. It is how you step into the unseen and bring it into the seen. When God said, "Let there be," the world was formed from thought. Likewise, when you say, "I am," you give life to the vision you hold within. Your inner world creates your outer world, and nothing in your outer world will change until you first change what you see in your inner one. Let this day be your awakening. You are not weak for dreaming. You are dangerous. Your imagination is not empty. It is creative. It is not deception. It is direction. The future has already been written on the canvas of your soul, and the brush in your hand is called belief. Today, paint boldly, envision clearly, walk as if it is already yours, because it is. Have you ever wondered why the dream keeps coming back? Why you can't shake the image of that healed body, that restored relationship, that elevated life? It's because it's real, and it's waiting on you to believe. You're not creating it by imagination. You're aligning with what already exists. The chosen one is not someone who begs God to do it. The chosen one is the one who says, "It is already done. I see it. I feel it. I trust it." This is how you activate your calling, not by force, not by begging, not by waiting on permission, but by allowing the vision to rise and holding it so deeply that the world cannot talk you out of it. Imagination is faith in action. It's how you commune with the future, how you time travel with your spirit into the life God already designed for you. The image in your heart is the proof of what's to come. People will try to discourage you. They'll call you unrealistic, but remember, they are speaking from their eyes. You are living from your vision. The difference between the chosen and the average is simple. The chosen one trusts what God showed them more than what the world shows them. And the more they walk in that truth, the more the world adjusts to reflect it. You are not here to react. You are here to create. You are not here to explain your vision to others. You are here to live it until it becomes undeniable. The world doesn't need another person explaining their fears. It needs someone bold enough to embody their faith. That someone is you. So today, give yourself permission to dream again. Picture the life you've buried. Feel the reality of the promise. Let the vision take root. And as you do, understand this. You are not lost. You are not late. You are not unworthy. You are right where you need to be to receive the revelation and to believe it into being. God didn't give you that imagination to torment you. He gave it to prepare you. The life you saw in your mind was not a mistake. It is your instruction, your confirmation, your map. And on this sacred day, May 27, 2025, it is time to rise in boldness and say, "I believe the vision. I accept the call. I am the chosen one." Because once you believe that, nothing can stop what comes next. You were marked from the beginning from the speech. God said, "Please listen, May 27, 2025, the day you realize you are the chosen one," approx. 1,000 words, written in the style inspired by Neville Goddard without naming him. You didn't stumble into this life. You weren't randomly assigned to the body you inhabit or the path you've walked. Before time had a name, before the earth knew form, before breath touched your lungs, you were marked, not by man, not by circumstance, not by your mistakes, but by purpose. You were stamped with destiny, encoded with divine intention. Everything about you, your desires, your battles, your journey, was written by the one who saw the end before the beginning, and even though you may have forgotten, he never did. You were not just born, you were sent. You came here carrying something sacred, a mission, a vibration, a light that only you can release into the world, but from the moment you arrived, life did everything it could to make you forget. The pain, the rejection, the betrayal, the confusion, it wasn't punishment, it was pressure. The kind of pressure that awakens the chosen and causes the marked to rise, because chosen ones don't get easy lives. They get refining fires. They are broken early so they can be rebuilt correctly. They are tested often, not because God is cruel, but because their assignment requires uncommon strength. If you've been through more than others, it's because you've been called to become more than others. The weight of your past is not a burden. It's a signal that you were always different, and difference is the evidence of destiny. You may have asked, why me? Why the pain? Why the setbacks? Why the isolation? But let me tell you something that will change the way you see your whole life. The pain was the proof. You weren't rejected because you weren't good enough. You were rejected because you didn't belong where your purpose would be smothered. You weren't isolated because you're unlovable. You were pulled away so you could hear the voice within you that never needed the world's validation. The delays, they were divine. The detours, they were designed. Every loss, every heartache, every disappointment was shaping the vessel for the glory it was meant to carry. You see, the chosen are not born in palaces. They are forged in wildernesses. You weren't made on stages. You were made in silence. You were built in the midnight hours when no one saw you, when no one clapped for you, when you cried out and heard nothing in return. And yet, somehow you didn't quit. Somehow you held on. That's not weakness. That's evidence. Evidence that the mark is real, that something greater in you refused to let go. The world wants to define you by your past, but the divine mark on your life predates your history. Before you made a mistake, you were chosen. Before you wandered off, the path was already laid out. You can't cancel what heaven already claimed, and you can't outrun the calling that runs through your blood. That unease you felt in average spaces, that discomfort with settling, that whisper that there's more for you, that's the mark speaking. It won't let you sleep, it won't let you forget, it calls you even when you try to numb yourself. Because once marked, you are forever known in the unseen realm, and let me say this plainly, you don't have to qualify yourself. The mark qualifies you. You don't have to prove your value. The call proves it. You don't have to be perfect, just aware of who you are and whose you are, aware that your imagination, your gifts, your voice, your dreams are not random but holy, aware that the pull you feel toward higher, deeper, greater things is not arrogance, it's alignment. You are not just a human trying to survive. You are a divine being who came to transform. You are the bridge between heaven and earth, the space where vision becomes reality, where spiritual truth becomes tangible evidence. And all of that was written into you before your first breath. Think about that. Before you spoke a word, you carried the vibration of destiny. Before you knew your own name, the heavens already had it recorded in light. You didn't choose the calling, it chose you. You don't need the world's permission to become who you already are. You only need to remember that you were sent. Remember that your life is not a reaction, it is a revelation. Remember that every twist and turn was working together to activate the knowing deep in your bones. You were marked from the beginning. The enemy of your soul has always known who you are. That's why the attacks came early. That's why you were tempted to doubt yourself before you ever had a chance to believe in yourself. That's why your battles were heavier, your storms darker, because the opposition was never about who you were. It was always about who you're becoming. The greater the calling, the greater the resistance, but even the resistance becomes fuel when you remember the mark. And here's the mystery, you didn't earn the mark. You were chosen by grace. This isn't about being worthy, it's about being willing. Willing to accept the truth of your identity, willing to live from the inner vision, not outer opinions, willing to walk boldly even when the path makes no sense. That willingness, that faith, is what separates the marked from the mediocre. You don't need another sign this day. May 27, 2025 is the sign, the moment your spirit stands up and says, I remember. The moment the fog lifts and you realize that all along you've been the one, not because of ego, but because of essence. Not because you're better, but because you were sent. You were never ordinary. That's why you've always felt out of place. That's why normal didn't satisfy you. That's why shallow things lost their grip on you. You were made for depth, for fire, for the unseen, and when the fire touched your life, it didn't burn you to destroy you. It burned you to reveal what cannot be consumed, your purpose. So now the choice is yours. Will you keep living like you're random, or will you rise and walk in the truth of your origin? Will you hide behind your wounds, or will you let your scars shine as signs of survival and strength? The world doesn't need more people trying to fit in. It needs more chosen ones walking in their original design. Today is the day. This is the hour, not to start becoming, but to start revealing who you've always been. The pain didn't define you. It refined you. The mark never left. It was waiting for you to see it, and now you do. You were chosen, you were sent, you were marked from the beginning, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can change that. Divine timing is never late from the speech. God said, "Please listen, May 27, 2025, the day you realize you are the chosen one," approx. 1,000 words, written in the style inspired by Neville Goddard without naming him. We often speak of timing as if it were cruel, as though the delays in our lives are a punishment, or as though what we asked for has been denied. But those who are awakened know better. They have come to understand the deeper law that governs the unfolding of purpose. Divine timing is never late. The clock of heaven does not tick by minutes and hours, but by alignment and readiness. It does not respond to the impatience of man, but to the certainty of truth. And on this day, May 27, 2025, you are called to awaken to that truth. You are not behind. You have not missed it. What is meant for you cannot be stolen, cannot be rushed, cannot be derailed by others. Why? Because destiny operates outside of human limitation. It is governed by a higher intelligence that sees beyond the surface. Every seeming delay is, in fact, divine choreography. Every pause, every redirection is the hand of God shaping your life into something that lasts. Something eternal. There is a season for sowing and a season for harvest. The problem is, in the flesh, we want to skip straight to the harvest. But the chosen know that the most important work happens underground, in silence, in obscurity, in patience. The seed is not dead just because it's buried. In fact, the burying is the beginning of blooming. The darkness is not your enemy. It is the incubation chamber of miracles. You thought you were stuck, but you were being rooted. You thought things were falling apart, but in truth they were falling into divine order. The relationships that ended, the doors that closed, the jobs that didn't come through. It wasn't a curse, it was timing. You weren't ready yet, or perhaps it wasn't ready for you. Either way, what looked like delay was really divine design. The truth is this: God won't give you what you pray for until you're truly ready to hold it. Not because he is withholding it out of cruelty, but because he's preserving it out of love. He protects his promise by preparing the vessel. What you are carrying cannot be poured into just any life. You have to be matured, aligned, strengthened, purified. That's what the wait was for. Not punishment, preparation. Divine timing respects your becoming. It moves according to the agreement between who you are and who you must become. The delay is not a denial. It is a space, an invitation to grow into the version of you that can sustain the blessing without self-sabotage. You may be gifted, but without timing, even a gift can feel like a burden. The chosen understand that sometimes the greatest faith is not in asking. It is in waiting, waiting with assurance, waiting with expectancy, waiting without fear. Look back for a moment. Think of all the times you tried to rush ahead. You wanted the door to open then. You were convinced that was the right relationship. That was the job. That was the place. And now, in hindsight, you are the manifestation of God's thought from the speech. God said, "Please listen, May 27, 2025, the day you realize you are the chosen one." Approx. 1,000 words, written in the style inspired by Neville Goddard without naming him. There is a truth more powerful than any opinion, any past, any pain. You are the manifestation of God's thought. Before your physical form took shape, before you had a name or an identity in this world, you existed in the mind of the Creator as an idea, a desire, a divine intention. You are not the product of biology alone. You are the visible expression of the invisible word. Think about that. You were thought into existence, not casually, not randomly, but with precision and divine pleasure. You were imagined, spoken, and shaped out of pure spirit. That is why, no matter what you've been through, there is a fire in you that will not go out. It is not pride, it is not stubbornness, it is the memory of who you truly are. Deep inside you know, you always have, that you are not just flesh and blood. You are purpose clothed in skin, a walking testimony of God's vision come to life. The moment God thought you, you became inevitable, and from that moment all of creation began to bend to make room for your becoming. Your gifts, your callings, your peculiarities, these are not flaws. They are fingerprints, evidence that a higher mind was at work when you were formed. There is no one like you, because no one was imagined quite the way you were. You are singular, specific, sent. What does that mean for your life? It means nothing about you is meaningless, not the way you feel things deeply, not the way you dream bigger than your environment, not the way you've always felt out of step with the world's pace. You are not meant to blend in. You are meant to reveal the mind of God through your life, through your words, through your work, through your very presence. But here's the mystery. Although you are divine in origin, you were sent to walk through the human experience. You were placed in time and space among circumstances to remember what you are and then choose to live from it. That's the journey, that's the test. The world tries to convince you that you are just your body, just your history, just your trauma, but the truth is, you are the thought of God wrapped in form, and what you believe about yourself determines what you manifest. You manifest not what you want, but what you are conscious of being. So if you see yourself as broken, you manifest brokenness. If you see yourself as small, you attract situations that confirm it. But the moment you awaken and remember that you were thought into being by the divine, your entire life begins to shift. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You realigned with the original vision, and once that happens, nothing can stop what must unfold. You may ask, but if I am God's thought, why have I suffered so much? The answer is found in the law of refinement. A diamond, though precious, is found buried. A pearl is born from pressure, and a soul that is meant to carry light must walk through shadows, not to be destroyed by them, but to prove that light is stronger. Your suffering wasn't punishment, it was process. It was the fire meant to melt away the illusion so the truth of your being could rise. Every time you were told you weren't enough, the divine thought in you whispered, yes, you are. Every time you were ignored, abandoned, betrayed, God's original word in you remained untouched. The world may try to label you, contain you, explain you, but it cannot redefine what God already declared. And what he declared was you. You are his imagination fulfilled, his word made flesh. The I am a given individual form. The challenge is not in being chosen. The challenge is in believing it, deeply, consistently, beyond what the eyes can see. Because everything around you will try to convince you that you are ordinary, but you are not. You are divine thought, clothed in humanity, a spiritual being navigating a physical plane, and once you accept this, not as theory, but as identity, everything changes. Your prayers take on new power. Your thoughts begin to shape your reality with speed and clarity. Why? Because you're no longer begging a distant God. You're partnering with the same power that birthed you. You are no longer pleading for favor. You're walking in the realization that you are the favor. Your very life is an answered prayer, a manifestation of heaven's will. Look at your desires, the ones that won't leave you alone. The visions that return when everything else is silent. These are not fantasies. They are fragments of the original thought that made you. You are being drawn back into alignment, into remembrance, into revelation. You are not here to chase your calling. You are here to embody it, and you do that by shifting your consciousness from lack to abundance, from fear to faith, from doubt to knowing. Knowing that you were created by a divine mind, and therefore contain that same mind within you. Knowing that every answer you seek is already embedded in the I am that beats in your chest, knowing that your imagination is not childish but sacred, the womb of creation, as you imagine, so shall it be. Don't minimize yourself any more. Don't shrink to fit in spaces that never saw your light. Don't apologize for your power, your insight, your uniqueness. You were not made to repeat what's been done. You were made to reveal what's never been seen before. You are the evidence that God still thinks, that he still creates, that he still dreams, and on this day, May 27, 2025, you are being called back to the center, to the truth that birthed you, the truth that says you were thought into being for such a time as this. Not by accident, not by coincidence, but by design. You are not here to find purpose. You are the purpose. So walk as the thought of God. Speak as the thought of God. Create, love, build, forgive, and rise as the thought of God. Because that is what you are, and that realization is the beginning of power, the birth of miracles, the doorway to destiny. The world is waiting for you to remember, to awaken, to stand in the mirror and say, I am not just a person. I am a word made manifest. And when you say it, everything will begin to bow to that truth, because you are the manifestation of God's thought, and nothing, not fear, not failure, not delay, can undo what you were always meant to be. Can see clearly, it would have crushed you. You weren't ready once